put my microphone down here. Actually, damn. There we go. How do I sound? I sound pretty good.
Keep talking.
Keep talking as I say. How do I sound? Sound pretty good to me. From a sound wise, pardon my voice.
Yeah,
but
it's clear.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. We are Monday Night Raw on a Tuesday, Sade.
Club going up.
On a Tuesday,
Talk about
bro.
somebody who threw it away, boy. We went from a Drake feature to where? Beverages to the drinkers.
Not for me, not for your boy. But
fair enough.
Appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all see my voice, or y'all can see for those that are watching. Y'all can hear for those that are listening. My voice is on its way out.
We got a problem.
We are on our way out for the day. So I got my hot tea. Hopefully y'all can hear me. But
hot tea and Hennessy.
I do have a hot toddy. But we couldn't let the day go by without speaking on it.
Open the doors of the church.
Speaking on it. Michael Penix Jr. has been named the Falcons starting quarterback for the rest of the season, is what I just saw come across my phone, which is the last 3 games. This is surprising, as if you go back and listen to the football segment of episode 171 of the Splashcast that comes out on Thursdays. Remember, like, follow, subscribe. Norwood literally said, don't play him. Make Kirk Cousins finish the season.
Yeah. This is something.
Am I at a loss for words?
Because there's so many different things at play here. The first thing is, like, we did pay Kirk a reasonable sum of money to do a job. I don't think that for the money that he was paid, he should have had to do the whole job. Personally. I do think that, and we have to consider, we don't have to consider, I think that we should consider Raheem Morris being a black coach. He has to always deal on a different timeline than everybody else. I think that he, just like I said, you're going to get through this season unscathed. They're not going to fire you. But this is the signal for how you enter next season. I think that no matter what happens, this is like his one reset. You get one time to reset, hit the reset button, cool everything off. And then from there, proceed. Now, if it was me, and I'm surely for him, I think he wished he could have saved his extra man for a little bit later. But Kirk Cousins not playing good for 5 weeks in a row, he had to use his extra man earlier than expected.
I don't like the whole black coach timeline thing for this scenario. I don't like it.
Can I ask, when you say you don't like it, do you mean that you don't think that it exists, or do you just not like it, like the concept of it?
I don't like the application of the concept to this situation.
So do you think that it doesn't exist, or do you think that?
No, I definitely think it exists. I think I think all black people have to work on a sliding scale. But
fair enough.
At the same time, you and your direct report, the person you report to the general manager. You and him made a decision to spend, I can't remember, was it 180?
Yes, 4 years, 180, potential out. We've paid him $40 million, I think, already. So
Right. So 40 million plus the signing bonus was 50, right? Or was the signing bonus 40?
Average salary 45, signing bonus 50 million, guaranteed at signing 90 million. Okay, so there it is. Guaranteed at signing. We paid him 90 million day one. Paid. Done. Total guaranteed 100 million. Now, this is confusing to me, and I don't exactly have an answer yet, but I'm gonna tell y'all. If guaranteed at signing means this is what we're gonna pay him, period, no matter what. So there's this other 10 million that we would have to pay him if we were to just part ways and be done with it.
I believe so. So back to the point of the whole black coach moving on a different timeline. Y'all set this up. You went and got Kirk for $100 million essentially, because I guess this is what it's going to play out to.
For sure.
And then you drafted Michael Penix Jr. Hindsight is always 20/20. So when you come back and you look at it, you set yourself up for, unless Kirk Cousins had taken us to the playoffs, to the division title, which was the expectation, and then a deep playoff run, you kind of set yourself up for damned if you do, damned if you don't, regardless. Especially
what you mean?
Kirk Cousins being mid or
he's not even mid.
What I'm saying is the worst case scenario was this. This is the worst case scenario. Then there was, you got a way to float and say, okay, well, we can give Kirk Cousins another year if he were mid, right? Because we're coming off the Achilles. Best case scenario, Kirk Cousins is good for 2 years. We go right as Michael Penix, etc.
Correct.
You got the worst case scenario. You spent all that money and you could have just started Michael Penix and put a better defense out there. You could have addressed a lot more situations. So my point is, with the whole black thing, Tyler, you created this timeline when you did this. When you made those two decisions, you created your own timeline. So that doesn't apply here to me.
The only thing that I think that your argument doesn't give any credence to or any value to is development time. Like, I do think that there's a major difference on starting on in the preseason week -3 versus starting week, what week are we in? 14, 15, whatever it is. I think that he's at least been able to, at this point, to learn how to be a pro, learn how to be in a meeting, and he's had a lot of time to watch up close and get some reps. I think that.
What reps?
I think that
he threw one pass in the preseason, and he's thrown 3 passes.
I'm talking about in practice. I just look at the guys that didn't get any of that, like your Bryces, your Anthony Richardsons, and you're like, you could have used 10 weeks. Like, 10 weeks ain't a lot of time. I mean,
spending $100 million on 10 weeks, it's $10 million a week.
Yeah, but to me, that's more of an investment in your future. You know that Michael Penix Jr. is going to be your future. So
you hope.
Oh, no. If Michael Penix ain't your future, then you don't have a future here. Let me be very clear about that. It ain't no Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix, and then we keep going. Your defense ain't that good. So, yeah, I want to give Michael Penix Jr. the ideal opportunity to transition from where he was to learn the playbook. Now, I will say, Penix, you've had an opportunity to learn the playbook. So you're not learning the playbook when you start playing. You're just more operating on what you should already know. Now, I don't expect you to be perfect, but you got to know the plays. You know when you go into something, especially with people's learning curve, like learning the playbook in itself is its own thing.
I can't get on board, dog. Now this is $100 million. This is a $10 million a week mess up in any job, in any industry, in any entertainment, any industry where you have $100 million screw up will get you fired. That can get you fired.
It is only a screw up if Michael Penix Jr. doesn't produce. If Michael Penix Jr. comes in and is pretty good to decent, then the cost was worth it because you knew the only thing that you were really trying to do is have a transition to implement your project. This project, if he is what you believe him to be, then $100 million is a small investment to have a franchise quarterback. And really, it's $100 million in a year that the best thing that you were supposed to do is win the NFC South. So to me, it's a low expectation and a serious investment, but an investment in your future. If Michael Penix takes off from here and he's your franchise quarterback, then you did it right. You didn't expect Kirk to do anything other than win you the NFC South to get put out, right?
You didn't expect Kirk to get paid. You didn't expect Kirk to pay Kirk $100 million in weeks. All of that, none of that was the plan. No, there was no plan that Michael Penix Jr. was going to outplay Kirk Cousins and you pay Kirk Cousins $100 million. And he was going to pay not even a full year. There was no plan for that. Give me 2 seconds. We'll be right back. Give me 2 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all. I mean, we still live. I never turned it off. But as we regroup, I had a toddler wake up.
We do it.
Had a toddler wake up after about 2 hours of sleep. So had to go make sure she was straight.
Big Reese, what up, though? I heard y'all down there pod. What's good?
Miss hates to miss out herself. But we were talking about, excuse me, this is not ASMR, but we were talking about Kirk Cousins being replaced by Michael Penix Jr. And what I was saying, the last thing I remember saying was that there is no way that the plan for them was to start Kirk Cousins for 10 games. The worst case scenario is that he started this whole season. Well, no, this is the worst case scenario. The worst thing that, not the worst case scenario, but the worst thing that could happen that they saw was that Kirk would just play this year. Michael Penix would then take next year.
But well, I can't exactly say that, and I'll tell you why. Worst case scenario is Kirk Cousins is immobile and can't do anything. And that's a risk that you take with a dude coming off an Achilles. So this is not ideal, but this should have gained you some entry time to prepare yourself for phase 2. Now, do I think that we would have liked Kirk to play well and this been part 1 of phase 2, get us to the NFC South, win the NFC South, and then get put out in the first or second round of the playoffs? That would have been ideal. And then we would have run the same thing back again, and then we would have had to have the pseudo tough decision: do we go with the, in the words of Step Brothers, the young calf or the old bull? I think this decision has been made for us. But
yeah, that's true. We didn't make this decision, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
you did.
Yeah, I think that he was given as much rope as possibly given, and I think that Michael Penix Jr. being seasoned as a football player also allows us to think, hey, let's go with this. He had an excellent college career. Kirk has had 5 weeks of piss. Like at this point, poor. Even I don't. Yeah, like Kirk, there's nothing that you can say that we've not done right by Kirk. So for me, yeah, we've done everything right by Kirk. We've done good business. We gave you as much opportunity. We put Darnell Mooney around you. We gave you Bijan. We gave you Drake. Kyle Pitts has been less than stellar, but even Werner has done his job. The offensive line has not been great, but you've also not really put the offensive line in the best of situations because you can't move. I think that the offensive line gets a little bit of pressure off of him because you got a guy who can at least buy a little bit of time for himself, and we can go back to like more play action things. So I would have liked to see him do it, but I also understand that we need to win the NFC South, and that requires us winning all 3 games. There's no room for.
I don't. There's no
room. You don't agree with what part?
I think this may be a punt situation. We just outlined in the football segment how the Buccaneers' schedule is boo-boo, and they're already game ahead, and if they win out, and if we both win out, then they go to the playoffs. I think that this is the best game. If you're gonna make the change, you're playing the worst team in the league, and you put him in now, and you let him get the game reps to make it seem like you're gonna get the playoffs. But I think you make this move because you are on the outside looking in versus
this is a false enthusiasm move. It's like, hey, we're gonna give you this opportunity, and let's see how it plays out. Either, ideally, Michael Penix Jr. plays well, he goes 3-0. Even if we don't end up making it to the playoffs, he starts out 3 games. 3 W's in a row. He feels confident, even if it's just 2-1. He gets 2-1 going into next season. Hey man, we can build off of that, especially if the offense looks decent. So it's now Zach Robinson. The ball is in your court now. If you want to come back next season, it is imperative that you pull out every trick that you have. It's time for you to lie to us. It's time for you to be on your best behavior. Hey, I got a second chance. I got a guy who's been here, who I have supposed to have been developing the whole time. It is now my responsibility to get that. I got to make that happen.
Yeah.
I understand your skepticism, though, for sure.
Okay, I done did all the posting. I done responded to everybody looking for the link. All right, I can go back to focusing. I said this is a move where on the outside looking in. Yeah, I agree. Now, what I do want to ask is, what if Michael Penix looks good? Because we haven't seen this offense off schedule, right? We haven't seen Kirk Cousins is a 3-step drop, 5-step drop guy playing his foot to get rid of the ball immediately. We haven't seen a play where we extend the play, where we're able to have the arm strength to drive something down the field on the run. Like Michael Penix Jr. adds a whole different element of escapability to this team, which is wonders for the offensive line. And this is why I said it's a lose-lose situation. Because if he comes out and is good, it's like, well, you made this decision 2 games too late.
I don't. Now this part, and I think that, and Florida has just kind of spoiled me on some of this. Some of it is just we're not playing for a championship anyway. All we're playing for is never. Okay, in my head, we're never playing for a championship. Raheem was coaching for his job. But the only thing that I'm really concerned about is us identifying our new franchise quarterback. That's it. As long as we do that by the end of the season, I am okay. So and now my expectation,
division championship. We had an expectation of division championship 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah. Now you can, but let me tell you, for me, the only reason that was the expectation is for Raheem Morris to not have pressure on his job. So my personal Norwood timeline and the Raheem Morris timeline, we are not on the same. I'm a lifetime fan. This is my team. I just need Michael Penix to be legit. What I was saying and what I was outlining was, hey, Raheem, if you want life to be simple for you, you win the NFC South. If you don't win the NFC South and you find the right you find the right quarterback for the Falcons, there's a part of me that's looking at Michael McDaniel in Miami, and that's not really working out. I think that Michael McDaniel would.
Yes, good transition, because I can't do it. How do we get Kirk Cousins off the books? If we can get him off the books, all of a sudden, we now are in the 49ers position of 3 years ago, where you got Brock Purdy on a rookie contract, and you have this money to build a defense. You can add a safety. You can add a few defensive ends. Few, Terry. Not one.
Correct.
Few. Now, you can replace all the linebackers, except for Caden Ellis. I put Caden Ellis back at end. They finally started doing what we said and just let him run around. Stop trying to make him stay in the zone. No, let him run around. He one of them dudes you just let run around. And
that's what sacks. I think he wants to be an edge rusher. We haven't been great at getting edge rushers. If we found one, sure, he was supposed to be a linebacker. All right, well, players fuck up. We say that every week, right? So as long as we finally found an edge rusher, and he's not like, he might not be our best, but put him in a rotation, he's perfectly fine. I don't like my coach used to say all the time, show me the baby. I don't really care how we get to where we get to. Show me the baby. That's what I'm here for. And that's what, if we can mistake our way into an edge rusher, I'm happy. If we can identify our future quarterback, I'm happy. Raheem, you and Kirk Cousins are uniquely in the same boat. You've been given every opportunity.
Yes. If
you don't make it to the promised land,
every opportunity. This is his first year.
We've watched Raheem not make enough of the right decisions. Sorry.
That's a confusing sentence. Yeah, he's made a lot of wrong decisions.
I can't. Yeah, you make too many. It's the same thing. It's the same thing from Arthur Smith. If you make a bunch of bad decisions, I can't get in the way for you. I can't say you're doing him wrong. You made too many bad decisions.
I will say that shout out to Raheem for learning from Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith was dedicated to Mariota and Desmond Ritter and Taylor Heineke for 3 years, and refused to do anything
2 years
else.
too long.
And we said that's going to get you fired. We also told you, Raheem, hey, if this Kirk Cousins and Terry, if this Kirk Cousins move don't work out, Michael Penix Jr. has to be great, or that's going to get you fired. And you can say, hey, dog, it is what it is. We out here. And what's interesting is the media and the way that they use the media. That was a nice little case study. You saw the breadcrumbs being laid for this to happen from the end of last game to today. You alluded to Raheem Morris not being committal to Kirk Cousins. There was the leak from inside the locker room that said that most of the players believe Michael Penix Jr. is outplaying Kirk Cousins in practice. I said they're not posting any more clips of Michael Penix Jr. in practice. It's only Kirk Cousins making great throws. There's nothing else that you see of Michael Penix Jr. I said that's odd. There was
they set him up. They set him up to change quarterbacks for sure.
Immediately.
It was very clear. Because in Kirktober, you couldn't ask about the same question. Like now that you kind of brought it up, you got a really good point there. In October, nobody was asking about, are you going to change quarterback? Because Kirk was kicking ass. If you asked somebody that, it would have been agreed. Like, why are you asking that? You making it weird, bro. Now it's like, are you? Are you?
Every week, are you? What about now?
Yeah.
What about now?
And that's what I said. I said, say what you want to, but Raheem can say that Kirk is the quarterback all he wants to. If you have to come every week as the coach and say Kirk Cousins is our quarterback, you already beat. You're already behind the 8 ball at that point. You don't really stand a chance.
Here's another point I think also doomed Kirk Cousins. We played the San Diego Superchargers and lost 17-10. He threw a pick 6. He threw 4 interceptions. That exact same team 2 weeks later plays the Buccaneers with 1 receiver and get absolutely stomped. When that happened, I was like, the Bucs' success also doomed Kirk Cousins. Because remember, he threw 5 touchdowns against this Bucs team.
And it's tough because I don't really have a good answer for you because Todd Bowles is looking. I know Todd Bowles just looking like, boy, whoo. You
think Todd Bowles called Raheem? You think Todd Bowles calls Raheem? Remember, it was on the same coach staff. He called like, hey, dog,
he should have.
You need to go ahead and make that. We ain't got to play no more. You need to go ahead and make that change.
Oh, no. You don't have to call him. Like, and no, don't call me right now. Especially if we're friends. Don't call me and tell me what I got to do when your success is directly influencing my life. Yeah, like, hey, don't call me about my lady when you out here taking your lady all across the world. Y'all done bought all these houses. Don't call me and be like, hey, bro, you got to be a better man. Bro, you making it tough on me.
No. I'm saying, hey, you need to. He called and was like, hey, Kirk Cousins ain't it. Like, black coach to black coach.
I mean, that too. You're not wrong. But I don't think Todd Bowles too lucky. Todd Bowles is, if not for Baker Mayfield, Todd Bowles is, yeah. If not for Baker Mayfield, who before was a defensive end for the Panthers and then a throwaway backup for the Rams, if not for Baker showing up and being Baker,
I forgot he had that Panthers fired. Oh my God.
Yes. Yeah, like
Shout out to the new viewers. Make sure y'all like, follow, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button
What
for
up,
us.
though?
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
like Baker, and you. But this is the media. You see every week. What do they say about Baker now? Great teammate, great teammate, great teammate, great teammate. Yeah, he was here in the summer, and the lineman was in the gym. He's the only guy who
Yeah, he
came
been
in,
doing that
started
for like
lifting
six,
weights.
7 years. That's always been his thing. Like he a try hard because that's how it came
Right.
from.
And that now is he's got like the Jameis image minus the interceptions. Like, God, this guy's
It's
he's
not minus the
scrappy.
interceptions. It's
He's
just
tough.
it's not the minus the. He's still
It's
throwing
the 28
15, 20,
touchdowns.
20.
It's
It's 30.
it's 28 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. You're right. It's just he throwing them tutties to Mike
He
Evans.
throwing them teddies, dog.
And I think that Evans, I think that he's a quarterback people want to play for. Because hey, if we get drunk and get into a fight, Kirk is gonna fight. I mean, not Kirk. Kirk is gonna call the police.
Ain't
But
gonna be
Baker
there.
is gonna right. He's gonna be at home with his family praying. But Baker is gonna be the guy to throw the first punch.
Yeah.
And I think that's endearing to his teammates. Like, and I think they found their guy. I think that there is nobody happier than the Tampa Bay Bucks right now. They found their guy, other than the Seattle Seahawks. They found their guy on consignment. Geno cost $25 million. Baker cost $30 million. When all the rest of these quarterbacks cost 40, 50 plus, even us, we spent $90 million on a quarterback. They spent $30 million on a quarterback. Their quarterback's not playing arm.
Oh my God, Shuddy. So here's the release stipulations on Kirk Cousins' contract. If we release him before March 16th, no post-1 June designation, we still owe him $27 million in fully guaranteed cash with a $65 million dead cap hit in 2025. Release him before March 16th, same cash. But they can spread the dead cap hit over 2 years. 40 in 2025, 25 in 2026. Trade him before June 1. They carry a dead cap hit of $37.5 million, but save $27.5 million in cash and $2.5 million in cap space. If Cousins remains on the Atlanta roster as of March 16th, another $10 million in 2026 will become fully guaranteed. Not impossible, but practically unfathomable after the decision today. So you either have a $65 million cap hit, or if you could trade him, you go down to $37.5. To me, the most likely scenario is that you're going to spread that $40 million. That's $65 million over the 2 years. I don't think anybody's going to trade for Kirk Cousins. I don't think that's going to happen.
Because you could probably split the difference. You know how well you'd be like, all right, well, we'll pay this part of the contract, and then you can have it. And I think that probably might be attractive.
Who's going to trade for him?
Anybody who's looking for a rookie quarterback who doesn't want to start him on day one. You can literally do the same thing for probably a third of the price that we did with Michael Penix. Let Kirk Cousins play 10 weeks, give you time to implement a playbook and a game plan before your rookie quarterback takes over. Everything is about quarterback development because they're not developing in college. So, yes, give me my own 10 weeks or 14 weeks to figure out how to teach my quarterback how to take over. And Michael Penix is probably the case study for it. I'll pay a third of what the Falcons paid for the same thing now. Sure. Why not? New York, you need some stability, especially the guy who's going to take over.
What stability is Kirk Cousins? He's thrown 15 interceptions in 5 games.
Now, that's the bad part. That is the bad part about him is...
Who's signing up for that? Even if you need a quarterback, why would you sign up for him?
Because you could get him for cheap.
To be bad?
Yeah.
You could get other quarterbacks for cheap.
Not starter level quarterbacks.
Theoretically, he's not your starter. He's just a
No, but
placeholder.
he's for me. I'm okay with that. If I'm a team at the bottom,
You
I
take a
need to
Kirk
get.
Cousins or Jameis Winston?
You know my answer to that. But there's only one Jameis, and Jameis got benched. So Jameis,
Jameis,
I
why?
want,
Even if the Falcons pay a third, Jameis is cheaper than Kirk Cousins.
yeah. But there's only
So why
one
would you not
Jameis
take
too,
Jameis?
because there's only one team that can get Jameis, but there are going to be multiple teams that get rookie quarterbacks next season.
David Carr or Kirk Cousins?
You're not getting Carr. Carr's
Why?
not leaving the
Why?
Saints.
They don't want him. They were 2-8 with him. Whatever they were, they've
They're
been
they're
trying to get
not.
rid of him. They fired the coach. He's next. They don't want him.
Look at David Carr's contract too.
I'll let you do that. I'll let you pull that up.
Okay, hold on. I mean, you're right. They're all in the same kind of ballpark of guys, and then you got to ask yourself. I mean, this is going to be a name that's eventually going to come back around. It's Carson Wentz. Do you want Carson Wentz for 10 weeks at $3 million?
Whoever. All I'm saying is there's more cheaper options for the same or better output than Kirk Cousins has shown.
See, it's tricky for me because October Kirk Cousins was. October Kirk Cousins was crazy, and then after that, it just went to shit.
So September he was okay.
Oh, so I mean, well, you'll know on Derek Carr very soon because they have an out. They could get rid of Derek Carr at the end of this season.
Exactly.
This is their out. If they don't, then it's 2027.
Dallas, but they got Dak, so that's not even gonna happen. Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is hurt. Kirk Cousins. You got McCorkle Jones down there, and they got him signed. So I don't know if you get. I honestly don't know if you get Kirk Cousins off the books next year. Honestly, I think you don't have an expensive backup.
And maybe you do. I mean, you do your damnedest, and you got to also wait until the season has started and see if somebody's leg falls off, which inevitably always happens, and somebody's desperate. Then it's like, yeah, I'll take Kirk Cousins and see what the Falcons. How much will it cost me to get Kirk Cousins? What will you guys take, and what will I have to pay?
Yeah, you're gonna have to sit him.
Okay.
You have to sit him and make sure, and then play the role of his Achilles is fully healed, and now he can move around the pocket a little bit, and hope that somebody takes the bait. So. And you hope somebody takes the bait on that. But other than that, I don't see a team in this league that would trade.
He's an expensive assistant coach.
I don't see a team trading for Kirk Cousins. I don't see not one team. Unless Aaron Rodgers retires, but why would you go get why would you get him? I guess that's the question. After seeing what he's been this year, why would you go get Kirk Cousins? At this price.
No, I'm gonna see how cheap I can get him. But if I'm Atlanta, how much can I? Whatever I don't have to pay for Kirk Cousins is great. So if I got to pay 2/3 of the contract, it's better than 100%, right? I'd rather pay 66% than 100%.
Why would you pay 66% of his contract for what you've seen?
No. I'm saying as the Falcons, maybe I foot 2/3 of the contract, and somebody takes him for 1/3 of the money.
Nobody's gonna. Why would you do that? The other team, not the Falcons. The other team. Why would you do that?
I might be willing to take $10 million Kirk Cousins as an insurance policy. Yeah, like when you start looking at quarterbacks, it does get super dicey. It's not that many, but I don't want to drag this forever. In closing, how do you feel about Michael Penix on Sunday?
I don't know. I've seen him throw 4 passes in his career. I have no clue, which is another indictment of this whole situation. I think he's better than a lot of people. I think he's better than Kirk. I thought he was better than Kirk in the preseason, and that's why they wouldn't let him play. Against the Giants is going to be interesting. We're still on pins and needles. We're on the same pins and needles with Michael Penix that we are with Kirk. We don't want him to get hit. His durability is a question because if Michael Penix get hurt, we ain't got nobody. We only have 2 quarterbacks. We may have a third on the practice squad that we may elevate. So I mean, we don't know what we have in Michael Penix.
So what do you want to see this week?
Understanding of the offense. I want to see him be able to make the reads and the progressions. I want to see his in-game adjustments and his learning on the fly. And I want to see him to be able to understand the protections and adjust the protections. If you can set the protection, go through your reads, and adjust on the fly, I'll be satisfied no matter what happens.
2 more questions for you. Is your expectation for him to win this week against the Giants?
Yes, because the Giants suck. But if he loses,
I agree.
I think it would be on whether we win or lose won't be on him unless he throws 4 interceptions.
And what is your expectation of Zach Robinson this week?
0, nothing. I don't expect shit. You need to earn my expectations, Zach Robinson. You need to show me that you can call, that you know how to call plays. And you need to make me think that Kirk Cousins was the one inhibiting you versus you being the problem for Kirk Cousins. Because we see the same issues and the same bullshit-ass plays.
I think that's also the thing that Raheem Morris is trying to do right now is he got to see if I got to fire Zach Robinson by the end of the season. And I think that's smart. That I got to see if Zach Robinson, you can't get this offense to scoring points, then I got to go in a different direction because you're going to get me fired.
It's crazy. You got to do all this and not even finish year 1.
And bring Ryan Nielsen back. I don't care what anybody says. Bring Ryan Nielsen back. Call, beg and call. Call and beg. Can you just come back? Baby, come back. Baby, I'm begging. Baby, I'm begging. I need you back here. You were better here. We were better here. I don't know what Ryan Nielsen did that Jimmy Lake doesn't do. I honestly don't care. But I've seen you with less do more. Please come on back. And you're in a bad situation.
Do we make the playoffs, yes or no?
Nope. We don't have a way. It requires the Buccaneers, one of the hottest teams in football, to lose a game that they should not lose.
And we're relying on the Saints. We're relying on the Saints.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, the Saints are going to be, Buccaneers are going to win. The Saints is their last game, right?
But now the Saints, this is what I will say. I want to be very honest. The Bucs have been better than us all season. The Bucs are a better football team than the Falcons. I know that me and you said that the Falcons should win the NFC South. The answer is the Buccaneers should win the NFC South because they're a better team. I know that we won't.
They're a better team. We have the better roster. Now, they are a better team. Kirk Cousins and the way that our offensive coordinators use our players or don't use makes us worse. We have the talent to be better than the Bucs. We have 2 running backs. They got 2 running backs. They have Mike Evans. Right. We have Drake London. They have Otten. We have Kyle Pitts. They have the dude that got hurt. We got Mooney. We are stacked Mooney. Just like them, except for we got Kirk Cousins. And
I will tell you that the rubber meets the road for me right there with Cade Otten and Michael Pitts. That's to me the symbolic difference between the Falcons and the Bucs. You got the Bucs who are like Cade Otten. Nobody regards them the same way that they regard Kyle Pitts. If you said at the beginning of the season Cade Otten and Kyle Pitts, you would 100% say it's got to be Kyle Pitts. Cade Otten just finds a way to be more productive and be a better football player. It's just will and hunger and intensity and aggressiveness and all the things that it takes to be a good football player. But it could just be Kirk sucks for 5 weeks, and he has.
I mean, he's been so bad. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
He's
ladies
been
and gentlemen,
terrible.
there will be more to come on this topic. I'm 1000% sure.
We talking about the Hawks now, baby. They
Well,
acting right. Well, we can't never have multiple teams act right.
nah, we only got enough juju. But before we get to the Hawks, hey man, you heard about AJ DeBanza? AJ DeBanza? Yeah, DeBanza. He signed to go to BYU. $10 million NIL deal.
Allegedly. For me, this has been an orchestrated move for a while. This is a kid from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Who moved to Utah to go to a prep school. I'm a firm believer that he probably got $3 million to leave Massachusetts to come to Utah.
Has a no trade clause in his contract.
I'm not worried about that. He's not that guy either. I think that he's a perfect guy for a no trade clause. Because if he's not wanted somewhere, he gonna move around. I'm not worried about that. But the band, I think he got $3 million to go pay for that prep school. That was the deal orchestrated by the dude who owns the Utah Jazz. I think it's a long con for the dude from the Utah Jazz to get AJ DeBanza to the Utah Jazz. I think that he's cultivated this dude and said, "Oh, I'm going to buy me a player, and I'm going to get him to a Utah prep school. And then after I get him to a Utah prep school, then after that, I'm going to get him to BYU, where I'm an alum. And then after that, I'm going to add him to the Utah Jazz. And I think that him and Lloyd Markkanen and Walker Kessler and Keontae George, they're going to be surely something in the future. And Kyle Filipowski. Maybe John Collins, maybe not.
Boy, but if that doesn't work out, I mean, he's a billionaire, so it don't matter. He'll just try it again.
No. Yeah, if it doesn't work out, I did my damnedest to try to make something happen. And he's a BYU alum. It's like winning a championship. I mean, I'm a billionaire. If I was a billionaire, I'd buy me a good Hampton player and get us a CAA championship. And if I could get him to the Falcons, or if I could get him to the Hawks, that would be great. But if I just got me a Hampton championship and I'm a billionaire and it cost me $10 million, I'm mostly happy.
Yeah, I don't know if the powers that be would let this rock, because if this rocks, then you basically have an NIL portal straight from middle school to the NBA or to the NFL.
You bought your child. You bought a child.
We are in trafficking. We are in full traffic mode at this point. What you're telling me, you got him from his parents at 15 or 6. He's 17 now, so he's 15.
Let me clarify. I'm not telling you anything. I'm reporting on the news that was provided.
No, you're right. I didn't mean you're telling me.
Clarify that now. Don't did it me, my boy.
But essentially what's happening is I'm going to pay you for your child, and I'm going to pay you every year for him. And then once he gets to the NBA, he is now my property. And I'm going to basically stake a claim on my property from middle school. And college, now as I talked through it, college football does the same thing. Nick Saban was offering 7th graders.
We just talked about the kid that was on the 7U team that transferred. And the other part is a lot of things still have to kind of fall their way. You got to get the ping pong balls. You got to draft him. All of those things. What you're truly doing is,
what's their picks? Don't they got a crap ton of picks?
Yes, yeah. You put your foot on the scale. That's what you're doing. You're like kind of buying insurance. I'm doing my best to swing this in my favor. It's not 100% for sure, but if I can do certain things, it increases my probability.
Yeah. Well,
and it's Utah, bro. We're not getting any free agents. Nobody's like, oh boy, I'm happy to go to Utah. So yeah, you're right. I got to cheat. How else am I get a player?
Oh man, I know we gotta talk. We're gonna talk about the Hawks now, but I'm still so just disgusted with the Falcons, just for how this whole situation in the played out.
Gotta let that hurt go, brother.
It should be expected, right? I should have expected for the Falcons for this to blow up when this happened, and we signed Kirk Cousins. My initial reaction was correct.
Wait. While we playing, Doc Rivers and got Milwaukee up by 19 against
I've been
OKC
watching
now.
this whole thing, and they are smoking
Milwaukee, hey
OKC.
Doc said y'all laughed at my jump shot. How about being up by 19 now? I might
It
not
is
be
8 minutes
I
left
might not
in the
be
in the fourth, and they have 69 points. Giannis
and remember,
only has 14.
it was tied around half. It was tied around
51-50. 51-50
half.
at halftime.
But I mean, at the end of the day, my expectations for the Falcons were way more conceptual. I would have liked to win the NFC South. But if we don't win the NFC South and Michael Penix is a good quarterback, I don't care.
We
and
also
I know that's
said,
probably
if you don't win the NFC South, you will not be the quarterback.
Yeah. Kirk. And I think that Kirk is a very realistic person. Like, even where I listened to him talk today, he said I gotta be better. I think that he understands he hasn't played well enough to complain. I do think that for sure. And I do think, as much as I haven't been impressed with necessarily his play, I think Kirk is high integrity. If y'all want to trade me somewhere, let's get together and find a place for me to be. That's it. But I don't want to be here if I'm not wanted here. I've made enough money and I've kind of lived on betting on me that if y'all want me here, I get on out your way.
There's nowhere for him to go. I guess that's the part that I'm saying. There's nowhere for him to go. Nowhere.
I think
unless he go Oakland. And Oakland laughing at us because they're not gonna help us because we screwed them over.
Even if we have to pay 80% or 90%, 80% or 90% ain't 100%. Right?
Yeah, and that way you don't have what you're really trying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. What you're really trying to do with Kirk Cousins is get off the dead money, the dead cap hit.
Yeah.
If you could trade him, that dead cap hit goes somewhere else. We would rather pay you 10, 30 million, or we'll even pay you 47, 20 of the other year that we owe you.
We just don't want to be back money like we were with Matt Ryan. Now, that's a different situation, different setup, but you just don't want that money lingering over your head for no.
Got the same thing.
Well, no, because Matt Ryan was number one, was playing better, and the other part was hell yeah.
But yeah. I mean, towards the end of that, we knew at the end of that contract he wasn't going to be right because that contract was escalating.
Right. But I mean, it is what it is. It was inevitable. Would we have liked it to probably transpired a little bit differently? Yeah, but we were due. It's life. And we'll move on. Like what Trey say, we move. And now look at the Hawks. They playing like they got some sense. So it's life.
Yeah, speaking of the Hawks, we as Norwood mentioned, we are watching the what is it called? The tournament, in-season tournament, where the Bucks and the Thunder are playing.
NBA Cup #1 versus 2, Milwaukee Bucks against the OKC Thunder. And this year. Oh.
And so how these two teams got there, we got a lullaby. Milwaukee.
I'm old. Phone. I mean, my wife tell me to go to bed.
Milwaukee defeated the Hawks to get there, but the Hawks defeated the Knicks to get to the semifinals. And Trae Young cooked the Knicks again in a different manner, a little bit mature manner. But he ended up winning, of course, as the showman. He starts rolling dice because they had to go. They booked their flight to Vegas. I like this new Trae Young, dog. Not gonna lie to you.
I'm pleasantly surprised with who he is and what he's done so far. Now, the one thing, please don't call me a hater, but
don't be a hater.
Wait, hold on. First, Trey has played much closer to what me and you have asked for the last 2 years, without a shadow of a doubt. He's found a way to play off the ball. When Jalen is on the court, he doesn't dominate the ball in the same manner that he did before. Um, Seeing him play off the ball, run off screens is unbelievable. And I think that's something he could be good at. Now, we're also paying you a Supermax contract. My request is still that you make shots at a reasonable clip. He's done everything else well, but the shot just ain't there yet. And I'm okay with it not being there yet, but we're in the second lap of the season. I need you to find your shot before All-Star. That we got to have happen. And
yeah.
hold on. And Ricochet. Bro, I think you play good defense. I think you've been a competent adult as far as a rookie. You got to be able to I need 10 points out of you. I need 10 points out of Ricochet. And I don't think 10 points out of the number one pick is unreasonable. And Trey, I just need you to be a decent shooter. I'm not asking you to be a world beater. I'm not asking you to be Steph, but you got to make a decent amount of shots. Because that's really the difference. Shout out to the Sixers giving us a spot. Because the Sixers just being terrible has really opened up a spot for us to be a decent basketball team. The Bulls not quite figuring it out yet or making a decision on what way that they're going. The Hawks have – we just got one direction to go. And sometimes only having one available direction is the best thing is, hey, we just got – all we can do is win games. We don't have control over our pick. That goes to the Lakers. So the only thing we can do is try to win every game.
Yeah. Few things. I like how
It's simple
Trey.
now.
I like how Trey has been hustling on defense.
Oh my God!
Hold
on. Can we get a round of applause for that, please?
Make sure that
I'll clap myself. He is Dyson Daniels' defense effect. Him doing these small things, even though you're 5'10", 5'11", 164 pounds, your effort, your hustle, look at that. He flew out to AJ Green. Then follow AJ Green, block the shot. It's not about whether or not you can do it. It's the effort that you set as the highest paid player. Right. We're not asking you to stop nobody. We're not asking you to lock nobody down. We just not ask you to put our bigs in a position where you just lay the the offensive guy every time. This was great. I told you in real time. I said, did you see Trey play as hard as he possibly could?
One, him playing defense has been impressive. I was saying the Dyson Daniels effect is real, but the Hawks released not even the Hawks. It was ESPN and FanDuel TV, formerly known as Bally Sports, did a story about how the ownership kind of approached Trey about being more of a vocal leader and being more seen. I think the combination of him maturing and them building the team around him, right? So with him being able to play off the ball more because you have a big that can drive and can facilitate. Whereas if you have DeJounte Murray, who is more like him, whereas you have Jalen Johnson, who can get to the cup and is still looking to pass, etc. at 6'10". He can also post. So I think the team has been built better around him. Shout out to Landry for going through iteration of iteration. This is the third iteration around Trey for him. So I do think that they built the team around him. Dyson Daniels, of course, because we're not all the way healthy. But you also you gotta applaud that he
This
has
is what I
matured.
will say.
Well, hold on, because you I don't want to
Go
lose my
ahead, go
thought.
ahead, go ahead, go
He
ahead.
matured
Yep.
to the point now where him playing off the ball is more of him trying to get everybody involved, and he's finally gotten to the point where he's learning when to take over. He doesn't take all of those crazy shots, even though he does. He's reserved to the point of taking those crazy shots when pretty much the game is over. Like when the game is over, he gonna fire a couple of them, or
Or we're down.
if
Yeah.
he's hot, he gonna try to hit
Or
you
if
with the
I can
dagger
kill,
still.
he always gonna try to kill you, and I'm mostly okay with that. As long as, and I think he's doing a better job. Pause of picking the dagger, and I
Why is that a
always
pause?
want. I think that I think he does a better job. And at the end of the day, as much as Trey has driven me crazy in the past, I do like that he tries to kill you because you have so many players who just won't like. Let's end this right now. Let's get everybody on home. Let's go ahead and finish this game. One thing that Trey Young is going to do his best to do is murder you.
Yeah,
And I think that as much as other things have driven me crazy, I've always respected and appreciated. He going when it's time to end you. If we up by 10, let's go to 13 and send these boys home every time. Or if it's 9, I want to go to 12. I do want to break your spirit, and that's a trait that you need to have. I'm happy that he's playing off the ball. I think that he also had the coming to Jesus moment where we'll move on without you if you don't get right this time. I don't think that this is the best team to be around Trey Young, but I think that sometimes you have to have that coming to God that if you don't get it done with this, then we will surely move on without you with Reese Shea, Jalen Johnson, and Dyson Daniels. We'll find a new point guard.
it's interesting that you keep referencing off the ball, and he has led the league in total assists the last 2 seasons. He's averaging 12.2 assists this year, playing off the ball more, which is why I keep saying again, and we can bring up John Collins because I know that's always a point of reference. John Collins just wasn't a good fit for Trey then. I think he would be a great fit now. I'm actually sold on him being the small ball or being the 5 and bringing Capella off the bench. But at this point, Trey being with Dyson Daniels, who is a pleasant surprise, and also Trey having it's y'all can't lose sight of the fact that DeAndre Hunter is healthy, and he's healthy because to me because he's coming off the bench versus having to play all of those minutes. And DeAndre Hunter may be mid in the starting 5 amongst the starters, but let me tell you what he's not. He is not mid when he plays against your bench. He is a killer.
And as much as he plays against your bench, if you look at the minutes that he plays starter minutes. Is I see what Quinn does. Quinn really kind of tires your starting 5 out, stealing time with Risa Shea and Dyson. He gonna typically close the game with Bogey and Hunter, but we can.
Bogey be on the bench with because
It,
Dyson be
it,
out
it,
there.
it dep- but I think that Bogey at this point is still a better player than Dyson. Dyson is really good, but when it's time to close the game, Bogey is still probably one of the top 5, 6 best 3-point shooters in the NBA, hands down. So if we can kind of stem the tides in the beginning and just kind of get it done early with Trey and Jalen and Dyson playing opportunistic defense and Reese Shea just being there, then when we go to our bench, you don't got a bench that good. You don't have a bench that has a Yeka Kongwu top 5 pick. You don't have a bench with DeAndre Hunter top 10 pick. You don't have a bench with Bogey, who's an elite 3-point shooter. And then we had who's the other person we play on the bench?
Larry Nash
Now,
Jr.
no. Now this is the Hawks' problem, and it's been the problem since Trey has gotten here. And I don't understand what we're doing right now, and I have an issue with it. We refuse to develop the talent at backup point guard. Period. And I don't know why we've gone to Veet these last 3 games and
Buffkin
not
didn't dress
like
up.
he's not hurt. You got to just leave. I like Veet. I like the idea of Veet. Sure. Great team guy, all the vibes in the world. You got to use your money the right way. You drafted Kobe Buffkin as a first-round draft pick. You got to find a way to develop him. He has to be our legitimate backup point guard. That is the one position we have consistently neglected in a way that's cost us. And right now, it's still costing us. You got to leave Kobe as the backup point guard, and you got to let him play until you develop him into a legitimate backup point guard.
Do the Hawks make a move at free agency? And
Maybe.
what if they do? What do you get?
I'm going to tell you what my answer is. You got to find a center. The Okongwu Capella tandem has been great, but I hate to say it, but Okongwu's too small. He's never going to work. He's never going to be able to be your starting center. And if he can't, and the reason he can't be your starting center is not because he's not good enough. He's too small to play with Trey. You can't have a small point guard and a small center. It's not going to work. So what I need you to do is find a legitimate center who can also have some level of shot, not in the paint, which is tough. I've looked at everybody. It's not a lot of great solutions, not named John Collins. And I honestly, as much as I would love John Collins to come back and be our starting 5 and then bring Clint off the bench or vice versa, whatever, I don't think that's really going to happen, which is a very, I honestly just kind of reserved ourselves to, I guess we just got to draft another center next year. But John Collins is the right guy for the job.
Yeah. Or you're gonna end up with like a Paul Reed or something. I don't know if we make it. I don't know what we're doing at point guard, backup point guard. I don't know if we make.
It's got to be Buffkin. You spent the first round draft pick. Just develop him. He's big enough. He's strong enough. He's not a bad basketball player. He's been hurt, sure. But you got to develop somebody.
They like
and
Veet though.
Quint.
They like Veet. Veet is an adult.
Veet ain't like money. Number one, you spent the draft pick on Kobe. Then get Kobe and fix it. You got to.
It sounds like a Cam Reddish situation to me because they've given him a whole lot of.
Reddish.
They've given him an opportunity. I mean, it's not like they just sent him to the G League and left him there. He be here.
He don't play consistent like Cam Reddish had 2 opportunities. Cam Reddish had an opportunity to play the 2 for a long time and to play the 3 for a long time. If just like I felt with Cam Reddish and Kevin Huerter, if you give them an adequate stretch and they don't do it, then we can move on from them. We can part as friends, and I can say, hey, like I don't look back on no Cam Reddish time and say the Hawks did him wrong. Just like Kirk Cousins. You gave him all the rope. If you can't get it done, you can't get it done. But I don't think that Kobe Buffkin has been like, hey, you're the backup point guard, and for the next 30 games, you're going to be the backup point guard every game. That's it.
You got to earn that, dog. The same thing you could say about Cam is the same thing I would say about Buffkin. They haven't really done you wrong either. You just haven't solidified yourself as the backup point guard.
But the difference is Veet is on the cheapest possible contract in the NBA for the next 4 years. You spent the money on Kobe Buffkin. You spent that draft pick. Just let it rock. If it don't work, it don't work. But you got to give him, I don't think that he's been given an adequate amount of time. And then just not to play him for 3 or 4 games. we've always, like, since Trey's been there, there's not been one reasonable backup point guard. Not one. And it's a
We
job where
actually
you
had
only
the opportunity. We had one that
DeLon.
was the line, but he went and got paid. So I mean,
Yeah. But even that, DeLon wasn't really the answer for the future because of his, I mean, he could have been okay. But just play Kobe. He plays good enough, and every now and then he'll light up. But I think that his confidence is not there more than anything. Oh yeah,
oh,
I like Buffkin a lot. I'm a
I do too,
Buffkin
but I
supporter.
ain't never seen him light up. I
I
never
think
seen
that
that.
I think that he's a good defender. He's a bigger he's a bigger guard. I think he's more than capable, but we gotta stop playing that backup point guard position. It's not that many minutes, but those are key minutes. Because if you could just stem the tide in the time that you don't play Trey, then this is, if we could just be zeroed out. You don't have to be plus or minus. If we can be a zero while Trey is not on the floor, we're a different team. But you getting out there and not playing like we get out there sometimes with no point guard at all, bro. That ain't gonna work. It's stupid.
Hey man, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna trust Quinn on this one because obviously y'all ain't seen something, and the moves you made are working so far. So I'm gonna leave it there.
We need a backup, like that backup point guard. For me personally, that's the one thing that we have never even really attempted to address, and pisses me off. And that might be a personal issue for me.
So
but I'm mad about it.
Moving on, yeah, I can tell that was a good
My
rant.
bad.
Moving on to the 76ers. They're broken. Everybody's broken. Joel Embiid's face is broken.
You're not gonna break my soul. You're not break my soul.
Joel Embiid's face is broken. Jared McCain suffered a torn lateral meniscus in his left knee, out indefinitely. Paul George legs be buckling every game. This the same knee.
Maxie leg fell off too for a little bit. Shout out to those guys. You're the reason that we're in the conversation right now. This is a team that's supposed to be better than us, that allows us to be better than them because their whole team is hurt. That's it.
I got nothing. Like I don't know if I've seen this in basketball. Like, but you kind of knew Joel Embiid wasn't gonna be. His better days are behind him. But Jared McCain, Maxey, we kind of knew Paul George. Paul George been made of glass for a little bit. You kind of knew that was happening, but dog.
It's like Orlando. It's like Orlando when they lost Powell, and then after they lost Powell, they lost. I mean,
I don't know where you're going with that one.
Well, they lost Paulo, and then after they lost Paulo from an oblique, they were still playing really good, and they lost Franz. The injury bug,
but Orlando is a deeper team.
You're right.
The Sixers, the four players that the Sixers have are all hurt. You can't count on Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not sure that the Magic are a deeper team. It's just the Sixers. Every good player for you has been hurt. Like, everybody who's good is hurt. Nobody can deal with their top four players being hurt. Period. But their top four players being hurt is allowing the Hawks to be second. The Pacers, they've regressed.
Yeah.
And then you got Miami at 6. You got the Bucks, who took forever to figure it out. They just, congratulations on those guys winning the Emirates Cup. But them taking a while to figure it out has helped us out. The Magic losing games because they're hurt. And then the Heat not knowing exactly what's going to happen with Jimmy Butler. I think they don't want to trade Jimmy Butler, because if you trade Jimmy Butler for Bradley Beal, then it's over. If you trade Jimmy Butler for Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, it's over. Like, You're gonna have to take a step back before you take a step forward.
Well, we can talk about free agency then. Well, that's not free agency, but Jimmy Butler is the latest conversation. But yesterday, the Pelicans released that everybody outside of Trey Murphy, I can't pronounce his name, Yves Missy, Trey Murphy, and what's the defensive guy?
Herb Jones.
Those three players are the only three players that are untouchable. Everybody else, DeJounte, Zion, CJ, everybody.
They're desperate. They're desperate and dumb, and I'm gonna tell you why. You should have been traded Zion. I've been telling you since you got Zion, trade him. You could have traded Zion and got Julius Randle. That would have been a perfect fix for your problem. Now you want to trade him, it's way too late. You into the max. You should never gave him a max contract. He never gave you any reason to give you the max. CJ McCollum, you probably held on too long. He's too expensive as a role player at that cost. And I don't think you should bail on DeJounte Murray. There's no reason for you to bail on DeJounte Murray right now. You got to give him some time.
I don't think that this was ever going to be his destination. Once this didn't work, then he's another chess piece to move. It can't work anymore.
I'm not in the business of trading players on good contracts. I think that DeJounte Murray, $30 million contract for the next 4 years is an excellent contract. Zion is a problem here. He's eating up too much money and not playing. He's always been a problem. The DeJounte Murray contract, say what you want to, is an excellent contract. Short-term, long-term. Now, him breaking his hand early in his time with you, that sucks. But that ain't the biggest problem in your team right now. It's the guy who just never gets in shape and always has soft tissue injury.
CJ McCollum's old, so they're getting rid of him. Zion, is time to go. And to me, you're probably going to have – well, you can't package anything with Zion because his contract is
so much money.
It's too high.
Zion is a problem. Everything else here is probably sustainable because you have money without Zion. Zion Williamson contract is the Trevor Lawrence of the NBA. This is the worst contract you have.
If I'm Minnesota, I go after DeJounte, even though I know LA Lakers are trying to figure out a way to make that happen.
Oh, Bron, you better this is your time.
But I think him with Ant Edwards, DeJounte and Ant in the backcourt.
Those are the two. Anthony Edwards best case scenario. Best case scenario because DeJounte can be the one, the oneest of ones. Mm-hmm. I also want to see Ja Morant and DeJounte Murray because I just think they'd be terrorists. Those would be the two guys.
Brandon Ingram needs to go to Memphis. He has the Memphis attitude with him, Ja.
But I think that DeJounte Murray has you let DeJounte get to a place where we like to jump people. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Ja right now ain't Ja playing the point guard right now?
Yes, you're right. But Demetrius and DeJounte, that's them two boys that grew up
fighting
on the good side of town, but they always play basketball with their cousins. You get over there, they finna sweat you the whole game. But same thing with Anthony Edwards. You want a guy who's active and aggressive as the other guard / small forward. It's the same thing to me with both of them.
Where does Zion land?
Hell. No, what can you do with this? Nothing.
Detroit.
Nothing.
He lands in Detroit.
No. Hell no. Detroit's the worst.
Oh, I know where you're going. They trying to get Kuzma. He's going to DC. They don't got nothing that they can get rid of. They can get Kuzma, bring Zion to play with Jordan Poole, and y'all can be foolish together on the court. Because Kuzma low key trying to get out of there. He's trying to grow up.
Well, that's what happens. Kuzma grew up last year, and Jordan Poole's like, "Oh no, I see what this is. As long as I'm here, I'm trapped here. I'm the clown here. You don't want to be the clown. Kuzma was the original. No offense, Kuzma was the original clown, and then Kuzma was like, "Oh nah, I got a little bit of a jumper. I can go somewhere, and they need a player like me if I'm serious about basketball." So Kuzma cleaned himself up, and now when it get closer to trade deadline, they're gonna make a move on Kuzma, and they're gonna say, "Hey, give me your bad contract. I want some draft picks and pick swaps, and you can get Kuzma and compete today." And it's not bad. And then Jordan Poole. Now Jordan Poole contract also heavy, heavy. Jordan Poole money a little different. He like $40 million.
Chicago's another place. Chicago, any team that's in purgatory can take some of these players.
Nah, Jordan Poole at $30 million. He's not like DeJounte Murray good, but he's close enough. If you have defense, he can be your offense.
Do you trade DeJounte Murray for Bradley Beal?
Yes, tomorrow.
If you're Phoenix,
no, you can't. I mean, do they have an extra $20 million to take? I don't think they got $20 million. Bradley Beal's $50 million. DeJounte's $30 million. That's a good contract for a bad contract. You were gonna get. You have to give up a draft pick or two.
I mean, you could take DeJounte and CJ. Well, CJ's contract got to be up soon. But why would New Orleans do that? So
CJ's also not cheap either. He ain't that. He's Portland. Another $33 million guy.
You looking for Switzerland? You looking for teams that you just trying to stash that can take these contracts? So you looking at Portland? You looking?
He ain't going back to Portland. That's where he came from.
Not CJ. I'm talking about Zion. $100 million, however much he make.
I mean, now I will tell you, if I'm Portland, I got a bad asset in Ayton, and I got Klingon. I might be willing to move away from Ayton if you give me Zion.
Let Zion play in the paint. And let Zion just be big in the paint. Go, pause if necessary. Drive to the basket. And just throw his weight around and let Klingon just be tall and shoot threes. I mean, it could work.
And I mean, they got Jeremy Grant, who I don't think is a good move, but I think that people.
What's Brandon Ingram's contract? He's not under contract. Go ahead, finish your thought. Right.
I think that there are three guys who are kind of in similar boats, but I feel like due to their reputations, they're mislabeled. You got Kyle Kuzma, you got Jeremy Grant, and then you got John Collins. I think the teams are way more interested in Jeremy Grant and Kyle Kuzma than John Collins, but I think that John Collins is a better bet than those two other guys.
Yeah.
But if you just look at the chatter, Jeremy Grant and Kyle Kuzma are higher, but John Collins is a better player out of the three.
Who needs Brandon Ingram? I like this is since his. I mean,
Charlotte, LaMelo Ball, Brandon. What's his name?
Miller.
Brandon Miller, and
Ingram.
And
Brandon Ingram.
Hellacious three. That gives you 1, 2, 3.
Or Zion. But Zion just got to take too much money. But you're gonna have to pay Brandon Ingram something. Like
can't send Zion home either. Remember, that's where he's from. No, I'm not sending him there. Not a chance.
New Orleans sending him wherever he want to go. Not where he want to go, whatever they can get.
If I'm Charlotte, I'm not interested. I'm not like you. Do have LaMelo, who's a legitimate asset. You got Brandon Miller, who's a legitimate asset. I'm not bringing
Brandon Miller to the Knicks. Actually, I'm sorry, Brandon Ingram to the Knicks fixes their rotational problems because you could put him at the.
Up?
Yeah, I don't know.
Now
because you
the
could put
issue
Josh
is
Hart back on the bench where he belongs. Not saying he's not good, but he's more efficient off the bench. And Brandon
the
Ingram gives them
Knicks.
another scorer, which would be Brandon at Ingram at the 4. Then you put Mikal Bridges back at the 3 and OG back at the 2.
Who are you trading? You got to trade. You got to give somebody back. You can't have everybody. Who you giving the Pelicans? Because I want
They
an asset back.
Don't the Knicks have like a no? Did they trade them all? Did they trade all their draft picks?
I want something back. I'm not giving you Brandon Ingram for nothing. I'm not just.
Why? I mean, he's going to end up walking for nothing. I'm willing to give
salary
you
matching too. The Knicks ain't got no more money. They can't take another whatever.
What's Brandon Ingram making? 20 something million?
Yeah. Brandon Ingram contract.
See, this one we need Knicks fan TV on here. This is when we need him.
30. Well, I guess it's just $36 million this year, and then after that.
I mean, it's a rental, but I mean, with the Knicks team, and you also got to take into account. I mean, there's only one good Eastern Conference team that's set. It's Boston. Everybody else, well, I mean Milwaukee, but I mean Milwaukee.
Brandon Ingram needs to go to the Hornets. That's the right answer. They can sign him.
You trade Middleton and a pick with Giannis and Brandon Ingram.
Middleton. You're not. I'm not taking. Because no. I'd rather give him to Charlotte.
Well, yeah. I still think
at least give me like I could. Charlotte don't have a lot, but I will take your picks and give me like Trey Mann. Give me. It's some things I can kind of pilfer out of Charlotte to make my depth better, so that when I do feel that once everybody's healthy, I kind of move around. Yeah, give me Trey Mann and give me Nick Richards.
Toronto's another place.
Toronto.
San Antonio
is now that's a place I think is the best place for John Collins to go. I think.
Yeah, we had that conversation. But I'm talking about New Orleans. Like, New Orleans got to get rid of all those guys. But, I mean, we'll see. Because, obviously, there's going to be some
San Antonio knows what they're doing. They're waiting for, like, they're not going to rush it. And when they find a guy who they like, because the problem is that Jeremy Sochan position.
Brandon Ingram plays the same position, right? No, Sochan played a 4?
Nah, I mean, well, this is the thing. You could put Brandon Ingram at the 3 and move Harrison to the 4. Barnes.
No, at that point, it ain't no 3-4. It's a wing.
Yeah, but I think Harrison Barnes also probably like decent at rebound. Like, you still got to get some boards outside of.
You have why? You also got to get blocks outside of it, but they don't matter.
No, you don't. You surely don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Sochan is getting 8.5, low key, 15 points, 8.5 rebounds, 2.7 assists. It ain't. That don't suck.
DeJounte about to end up right back on the Spurs.
And probably the right place for him to be too.
And
they also got Stephon Castle. If you get Stephon Castle, if you can have Stephon Castle and DeJounte Murray in the backcourt, you don't really have no problems.
Yeah.
6'6" and 6'3". Shit.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in New Orleans. Golden State already made a move so Klay Thompson has been cooking the Warriors, which you knew he would. You knew he wasn't going to be bad against the Warriors. But in all actuality, Klay has proven that he's still a good third option. I think what Golden State was saying was they didn't want to pay Klay for him to be a third option. And they thought that they could get younger, especially with Podziemski, who had a good second half of his first year. And then now Podziemski has been bad. And I mean, on the court, the team hasn't liked him. Off the court, they've been barking at him. He's been MIA. They don't really talk about him no more. So that forced their hand to then go get Dennis Schroeder, who was on the block. And that's actually a really, really good signing. That's your backup point guard. Good, your backup point guard. Starting point guard. Put Trey to two. Trey. Steph.
Nah, because they've been playing Buddy.
Oh, Buddy, come off the bench.
I don't mind Schroeder off the bench. He's a good off the bench player. He's a catalyst. He's his motor runs hot no matter where you play him. He's an NBA player. I know that they just showed him as the newest rainbow player, put him in the same group with Shaq because he's been traded, and y'all are laughing. That also means 7-8 teams found value in Dennis Schroeder. And say what you want to about him, he's an NBA player. He's tough. He's smart. He's aggressive. He's a pest. He's in the same kind of mode as like a Patrick Beverly. I'm gonna find a way to be valuable to every team that I come to. Well, he's playing for the Brooklyn Nets.
They ain't make fun of him because he was on 7-8 teams, even though he's a good player. They made fun of him because he turned down $84 million.
Sure, but I mean, he's also a guy who has the ultimate belief in himself. Like, you're right. He made a mistake on a contract. Sure.
Which adds to him being a rainbow player. Not
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But also
rainbow jersey
he's a dog. Like, when you look at a guy and you say, hey man, you could have been out of the league. There are guys who have had way more talent than Dennis Schroeder who've been out of the league for a long time. But his ability to find a way to just do whatever it takes. I think
he pulled a Baker Mayfield. He was ostracized for that $84 million. He then went and wasn't that great. And he went to purgatory. He went to Brooklyn. And he built his value back up in Brooklyn. And now
he's done that multiple times. Everywhere he goes, he might, it take him a little bit, but he's at like 18 and something. 18 points out of Dennis Schroeder.
I mean, he was a starter
yeah, but you also got like starter level guys over there. You got Cam Thomas, you got Nate Claxton, you got Cameron Johnson, you got other players. He scored that 18 points because he won 18 points. Schroeder is a dog, a legitimate dog. Might not be the best skilled, but if you're looking for a guy who will go try every night to bust your ass, it's Schroeder. And I think that they missed on Podziemski, whatever his name is. I don't exactly understand what they thought it was. And that kind of, to me, lends itself to some of the things that people have been always saying about Steve Kerr is he's not the greatest identifier of talent. And
yeah, it's the system. And they thought he was going to fit into the system, and he didn't. That's really what it was.
You haven't gotten enough out of Moses Moody. You haven't gotten enough out of Jonathan Kuminga. And Wiseman. All of these things lend itself to you took over Mark Jackson's team and took a team that was already kind of ready to the next level, respect. But now that you've had to kind of go back and stoop down with worn down tools and make it happen, you've just kind of deferred to, hey, Steph, can you fix it?
Didn't they win like 2 years ago?
But you didn't let me finish. I said you just basically deferred to Steph, like, Steph, can you save me? I don't think that out of all the players that Steve Kerr has drafted and had on his team, I don't think that he's really brought the absolute best out of players. I think that Steph Curry is just found a renaissance later in his career and playing out of his mind, and Steve Kerr's just leaning on the everlasting. For me, I think that Kuminga's a good basketball player. I think that you could get more out of Moses Moody. I think that you could get more out of Andrew Wiggins.
You can say that about any coach that has a really, really good player. I'm assuming we think Steph is top 10, top 5, top something, in the top echelon, top 1% of the 1% of players of all time. So, I mean, and the players that are up there like Michael Jordan, you don't think Phil Jackson is a great developer of
I think
talent.
Phil Jackson.
You
Yeah,
don't think that
I do think that Phil Jackson got the best out of those other guys. I think
you,
that Greg
you
Popovich
said
has got.
you said that Kerr is not a great identifier of talent. Phil Jackson didn't outside of those three, everybody that they added were free agents. They didn't
No, no,
add
no.
any. There's
I don't
anybody
think
that
that.
they drafted wasn't. You can't name a good Bulls draft pick other than Tony Kukoc in that Jordan era. You can't think of nobody.
I don't think
Same
that
with Phil
Steve
Jackson at the
Kerr.
Lakers. They didn't
I
draft
don't think that
nobody.
Steve Kerr has gotten. I think that Phil Jackson gets way more out of Jonathan Kuminga. I think he gets way more out of Moses Moody. I think he gets way more out of Andrew Wiggins. I think that, and I honestly think that he gets more out of Clay. I just like, and I'm talking about old Clay. I'm talking about last year's Clay. I just think that. I think this.
But your
Steve
original
Kerr
point
has,
was that Steve Kerr doesn't identify talent well
and
in
if I
draft
said that,
in
I
drafting
misspoke.
it.
No. That's not his responsibility. He hasn't. Now the Podzimski thing, I think that was just a terrible.
And you said the Podzimski thing lends to the fact that Steve Kerr can't
he
identify
doesn't
talent.
develop. Not well. If I say identify talent, I meant develop talent. I think that he's had decent players around him, and he hasn't made them better. I think that Jonathan Kuminga is a reasonable basketball player in the NBA. I don't think that Jonathan Kuminga has had like a season where he's gotten enough opportunity. Just don't think so.
I mean, we're going to find out. I mean, because I think a lot of with any great player, when you're a young player trying to play, that's going to apply to you. You don't really see a bunch of young players, except for like the Spurs. The Spurs was the only one.
He's 22 years old. He's been in the league since 2001. I mean, I guess it's not right that long ago either. I don't know.
2021?
Yeah, 2021. I don't like what they're doing with Jonathan Kuminga, and I don't like what they're doing with Moses Moody. They're in a position where they're not really trying to let him go.
Moses Moody wrong. I do think they did him wrong. Horribly.
I think they're holding them, but they don't want to. They're hedging their bets. Like they don't want to let him go, but they won't let him play either. And it's like, what are you doing? Do something. Make one move. Either decide we're gonna let them go and we're gonna get some new players, or play them.
I think they're about to trade. They're about to trade him for somebody.
You think?
I would hope not. I would expect. Well, I don't know because they went the route of trying to get a big, and none of them worked out. So then they got Kevon Looney. So I mean, Golden State really needs a big in the
I
West.
will give Steve Kerr that much. Out of one player that I do think he got the absolute most out of, he got all the juice out of Kevon Looney. Looney was at like 19-11 one time. He was busting ass.
I don't think. Did he draft Looney?
I don't know where Kevon Looney came from. He just showed up one day and it was like, yeah, we're going to just have you on the team. You get every rebound. Kevon Looney was getting 20 rebounds one game. I was like, bro.
In the finals. In the Boston Celtics went and signed a 7'4" man the next year. They said never again will that happen.
Loon was playing. Loon was hooping. I will give Steve Kerr. You got Kevon Looney to play the best of his abilities, but I would like to see you do that with Jonathan Kuminga instead. It'd be way more beneficial to you.
Lakers, last topic. Lakers. Braun forcing their hand. I wasn't gonna come in here and talk. I was gonna talk about that the Lakers are through. They ain't got nothing to do. They don't. But I mean, you have been thrown a life raft by the New Orleans Pelicans. I don't know how you make that happen, but you can. DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray is the life raft. They're trying to get off of D'Lo, and
He tried to rob us last year.
You trying to yeah. Shout out to you, Landry.
Hey, hold on. Bleacher Report, ESPN, stop putting that same sorry ass trade package together for Trae Young. I don't even like Trae Young, and I'm not taking Rui Hashimashi. I'm not taking Gabe. I'm not taking D'Angelo and some pick swaps. Bruh, I ain't gonna. There's nothing that pisses me off more than that same stupid trade. And you know me, I'm an idiot. Oh, new trade opportunities. I go click every time. Yo, Gabe is only gonna be good when he goes back to Miami, which I think he does. Rui Hashimashi is the new Taylor Horton Tucker, where LeBron tried to sell y'all on a product, which is surely trash. He tried to tell y'all Taylor was good, and y'all don't even. Taylor is in Utah or somewhere else, just wasting away because he's not a good basketball player. And D'Angelo Russell, everybody just hates him, and he only good half the time.
Yeah, they go D'Angelo Russell to the Pelicans for DeJounte Murray and a pick. Or, I'm sorry, New Orleans will get a pick, and it's going to be a 2029.
But if you take D'Angelo for DeJounte, if you're the GM, fire yourself and go ahead and trade Zion, because
we got the Lakers pick next year, don't we?
Yes, that's the reason it was great for us to beat them. Like, we have no control over our pick, so we're just waiting on the Lakers to lose. Now, the great news is the Lakers suck, and they're over budget.
Bad for now, but LeBron gonna force them to do something.
Or best case scenario, trade LeBron leaves, and if LeBron leaves, first round pick, number 1 pick, baby. Y'all know that place becomes, anytime that LeBron leaves, the place comes a landfill. And we would love that right now, boy. If we get, now the Hawks mess around and get Cooper Flag.
And play him at the what? What would you play at the 2? The 3?
All-time quarterback. I don't care what he plays. Cooper Flag. Boy. Oh, Ricochet, you go to the bench. You're going to the bench.
Wow.
Let me tell you that.
The number 1 pick from last year goes to the bench for the number 1 pick this year.
Who got a problem with it?
That's unlikely. But there are other players, and the Hawks are going to draft a big man. They're going to draft
Ace Bailey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's going to be another.
There's a dude at Michigan right now who's highly skilled. We're going to redraft another Zachary Ricochet type of player. No. Actually, we need a 5. Yeah, we're going to get a 5. Because there's a 5 at Michigan right now who plays like Isaiah. He played like Isaiah Hartenstein. He plays exactly like Isaiah Hartenstein.
Oh, and I want to go back to that. I told y'all, Nick. Hartenstein was not the guy for y'all to let go. And now look at y'all. Look at you looking stupid in the face.
He got dominated today, though.
Fine. I don't care. I do not care. Hartenstein was a good player.
Actually,
on
no,
a
he
good
did
contract.
not. No, he did not.
Good player on a good contract who just was a...
No, he was a free agent. They did not pay him. They offered him. And the OKC came in with the $70-something million.
No. His contract, Hartenstein is on a good contract.
It's
like great contract.
$84 million, 70-something, 77, 72.
That's what starters cost. And that's a good, $87 million for 3 years, $29 million, $30 million a year for a big that can rim protect, pass, and score.
So you would have taken Hartenstein over Karl Anthony Towns, is what you're saying?
At that, Karl Anthony Towns is $50 million. Yes, I would like $13 more million, especially after we overpaid OG, and you got Bridges, and you can't stop nothing in the paint. Yeah.
So because I think the Knicks fans at the 5 with Karl Anthony Towns, the way that he is playing, I think they're more than happy. I think with that whole exchange, I think that they do need Mitchell Robinson to come back very soon.
What happens to your team? Then your team is completely different if you're gonna start Mitchell Robinson at the 5.
No, you don't start him at the 5. You bring him in off the bench. Karl Anthony Towns is the starting 5. Their starting is fine. The only thing that they can add is
you have no defense at the rim. You have no just playing to get crushed.
The only thing that you could do is if you you would have to sign a 5, and then move Karl Anthony to the 4 and bring Josh Hart off the bench. But I don't think that's not what he is. He's a 5. They would have to. You could bring like a Paul Reed at the 4 and play defense.
If this starting 5,
John
you
Collins
don't get
would be a
enough
good
boards.
one, but you don't have enough money. Well, yeah, you do.
OG is an overpay. Costs too much.
I mean, we've established that. But what I'm saying is, you were talking about Hartenstein. So Hartenstein versus Karl Anthony Towns, I don't know if they would, if they had an undo button, I don't know if they would do that. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't actually.
Okay, then good luck. When you can't stop anybody, especially when you have to play half court basketball in playoffs, I don't want to hear anything because you know the big bodega ain't gonna do it. That's the one. Look at what we did to him. You paid too much money to not be able to beat the Hawks at your house and at their house. That was a message sent. Cleveland, I think we were fortunate. The Knicks, we sent a message, and we can wrap that up with this: Trey rolled the dice on the logo. You've opened yourself up to a can of worms that you are not ready for. Number one, if I'm any other player and I'm elite, I want to roll the dice on the Knicks logo now. Like if it's me, that's the thing now. I'm here to roll the dice.
Yeah. Nah. Eventually somebody's I think that's something that could only happen once, maybe twice. And I think because
who's gonna stop them? Who on the Knicks is going to
That's what I'm saying. The Knicks' manhood is questioned by the entire league and the entire alumni base of the New York Knicks. All the players were like, yeah, that can't happen. You know what I mean?
You got to punch him in. Like, you have to 300 kick him for that.
They going to try to beat us by 100. We played them in February again, right? They going to try to beat us by 100.
As soon as Trey did that, I said, bro, Trey's an asshole for that. But it's like any little person. You let them do it, they going to do it.
And y'all talk trash to him. You said he looked like a lollipop and had all those Trey Young and spit on him and all that stuff. You lucky I ain't pee on that logo. You spit on me, dog.
And he's like, and like now, I almost named the show this. He's Andrew Dice Trey. Like, he rolled the dice on your logo. And we know New Yorkers gamble. They play CeeLo. They play craps. Like, the Vegas thing was cool, but you can't let Trey do that. Not at 164 pounds. That's what Baron Davis and Draymond said. But there's nobody over there that's going to do anything about it.
Literally everybody said.
And I respect Jaylen Brown for saying, well, if you don't want him to do that, then you beat him. True, but it's like T.O. on the star. It's certain things we just not playing with, especially as the Knicks.
Trey gonna get a flagrant one next time we play. I can tell you that. Somebody gonna do something because they're gonna put it. Yeah, somebody gonna hit him.
That's too offensive. Like, that's I don't know. Like, that's the planting the flag in the middle of the field while the game is going on type of thing.
No, that's
and Jalen Brunson, you look, as much as everybody likes you, you look soft for that. You're the leader of that team. You let him do it. It's certain things as like, I can only liken this to being in a fraternity. And there are just certain things that I know that I can't let people do. It just can't happen. I don't want the phone call that comes with that. I don't want nah, you thought that was okay? Like, there are certain things that come with too much respect. And every now and then you just got to choose violence.
Yeah, but ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of episode 171.
No, 171.
171. I was looking at the time. 171 of the Splashcast. Norwood, if we ain't miss anything, take us out.
Thank you guys for rocking with us on part 2 of episode 171, Red, White, Black, and Blue. Please go back and listen to the pregame where we talk about people getting their face knocked off. Thank you guys for rocking with us on this beloved Monday and Tuesday night for the people who watch it in the live stream. Hawks will play tomorrow. Congratulations on the Milwaukee Bucks winning something that does not matter at all. Number one,
You
number
say
one,
that
number one.
because we lost.
You think that I would say to the Hawks fans that this matter? Come on now. I'm
The Hawks
Mr.
don't
If
play
we
till
didn't win
Thursday.
they don't play tomorrow?
Nope. There's no games tomorrow.
Good. I'm okay with that. Let us get rest. Everybody need to come back healthy. Number one, more black baseball. Also, I hate the Yankees. I think they purchased Cody Bellinger today from the Chicago Cubs. Number two, there's more Cowboys and Cowgirls. Number three, the historically black college and university your cousin went to, your auntie went to, your uncle went to, the person you used to sit in the back of church went to. Please send some money over there. The historically black college university in your neighborhood, the one that you go to for step shows, homecoming, or just to be around your people, or a place to feel safe and comfortable. Please send some money over there. And then the historically black college gave me a degree, gave Reggie a degree, the greatest art institution in all the world, one of the best college football program, HBCU college football programs in the world, the Hampton University. All we ask for is $18.68 on behalf of the university was founded. Outside of that, thank you guys for rocking with us. We've had a fantastic Monday and Tuesday. Adios, mi amigos. And y'all wish health to my boy Reg. Hope he feel better.
Yeah, my voice gone.
Outside of that,